The New York Yankees and the New York Mets. First pitch of the ball game is a strike from left-hander Dave Lapoint, and a good crowd on hand this afternoon. Should be over 40,000 at the stadium. Dave Lapoint working to Mookie Wilson, finds the count 1-1. Mookie Wilson, quite a catalyst for this ball club. He and Lenny Dykstra get things going up top of the order. Lapoint missing with the next pitch, and it's 2-1 now.
Well, Dave Lapoint's the kind of guy that cannot fall behind these hitters. He's the pitcher that has to have that complete control.
A chance for Espinosa. The sure-handed shortstop makes the play to Steve Balboni over at first base. One down. That's one of the things that Dallas Green, and you heard on our scorecard show with Greg Gumbel talking with Pat Corrales, with Espinosa, the shortstop. He is a shortstop who makes that routine play. And someone who really isn't routine, you'd have to say, would be Greg Jeffries, the young infielder. He'll be playing second base this year for the Mets. Steps in to face Lapoint.
Well, Tim Tuffle is not happy about that. Of course, Jeffries brings so much in the offensive category to the Met ball club. Switching Jeffries from third to second base.
Pulled fair out of the reach of Pags, and it'll be played by the left fielder, Bernie Williams. So it doesn't matter where Greg Jeffries plays in the lineup. He can swing that bat from the left side and the right side.
Well, I think you just mentioned it right there. Anytime you can swing the bat and you can provide offense for any ball club, they're going to find a place for you to play. Jeffries a switch hitter. You see Pagliarulo just about even with the grass. You've got to protect against Jeffries bunting on you, and he just slaps the ball by Pagliarulo.
Well, the batter will be the number 3 hitter, first baseman, many-time All-Star, and 11-time Gold Glove winner, Keith Hernandez. I'm Tommy Hutton with Bobby Murcer. This ball game just underway at Yankee Stadium. The Mets and the Yankees. Pitch up high for a ball to Hernandez, who for the first time in his career was on the disabled list last year with a couple of hamstring pulls.
He has certainly been the Iron Man during his playing career, and what a first baseman he is. Gold Glove winner. If Mattingly was playing today, you probably, well, you would have two of the best first basemen in all of baseball playing here at Yankee Stadium.
You're exactly right on that. Dave Lapoint taking a peek at Jeffries back at second base. Hernandez, the type of hitter that left-handers do not bother him either. Breaking pitch hangs high. Count goes to 2-1.
The only way Lapoint would bother a left-handed hitter would be the off-speed pitch. And Lapoint, he takes a little bit off of his changeup. That's just how slow he throws the changeup every once in a while. Always changing speeds off of 3 or 4 different pitches.
2-1 is popped out of play, and the count evens 2-2.
Not the kind of guy that can blow the fastball by you like Sam McDowell used to, or Steve Carlton.
Funny you mentioned Steve Carlton. He was on my mind when I was talking about Hernandez. You remember when Hernandez was back with the Cardinals, and this was when Steve Carlton was throwing hard, the hard slider. And Hernandez, as a left-handed hitter, hit him better than any lefty I'd ever seen. The 2-2 pitch, jam shot, and it stays 2-2.
That's a typical Lapoint pitch right there, because he had been featuring nothing but that off-speed stuff to Hernandez. And then once Lapoint does throw a fastball, as he did there on the inside portion of the plate, it surprises you. And even Lapoint, when he's mustering that fastball at home plate, it's only in the high 70s and really low 80s, but it looks like 90 miles an hour after all that slow stuff.
Back again, a 2-2 pitch. Hernandez lifts it in the air. Left center field, Bernie Williams, and the center fielder, Roberto Kelly. Roberto Kelly with the catch. And that's the way you like to see the center fielder take charge out there.
Number 18, Darryl Strawberry.
Interesting to tell the reaction of the crowd here with Darryl Strawberry coming up. And during the pregame activities, we saw a lot of that when the Mets first arrived and they took the field. A few of the players went out on the outfield to start jogging, and right away everybody started booing. And that's the kind of day it's going to be.
Well, at Yankee Stadium, obviously most of the fans here at Yankee Stadium are Yankee fans. And they're going to boo the Mets. When they go to Shea Stadium tomorrow, the Yankees will get booed at Shea, and the Mets will get cheered.
Well, they're 2 out. Darryl Strawberry, the hitter. Fastball is high, ball 1.
Here's a guy right here that left-handers don't make any difference. You've got to make good pitches on Darryl Strawberry. He will take you out of the yard. You've got to be extremely careful with him. Left-handers like to get him out with the breaking ball. There's the breaking ball right there. You've got to be careful, though. Darryl runs that ball low and inside. And with Yankee Stadium and the dimensions that we have at Yankee Stadium with 314 down the line, you've got to be awfully careful with a hitter like Strawberry.
Davey Johnson looks on, the Mets manager. You know, the interesting thing about Darryl Strawberry as he faces the left-hander, Dave Lapoint, his batting average last year was lower against lefties, but he had more home runs against left-handed pitching in fewer at-bats. 1-1 fastball hit high to right field, and there's a home run off the left-hander into the upper deck. Darryl Strawberry, a 2-run shot here in the first inning, and the Mets take a 2-0 lead. Well, it didn't take Strawberry very long to introduce himself to Yankee Stadium.
No, I'm sure he won't make any difference what stadium Darryl Strawberry plays in. He's got the kind of power that he can leave any yard in baseball. That was way back in right center field into the upper deck. Cut the pitch out. Lapoint, and the ball is inside and just below the belt. That's exactly where Strawberry likes it.
Batter's Kevin McReynolds, and the count's 1-0. You can't relax after Strawberry because this guy here can put him out of just about any ballpark, too.
They certainly got some kind of punch in the middle of this lineup, this Met lineup with Hernandez, Strawberry, McReynolds, Gary Carter, Howard Johnson. They've got some thunder.
A strike to McReynolds.
But it gives Davey Johnson some flexibility, Tommy, because he's got some speed up at the top of the lineup. But he doesn't really like to run his players. He likes to wait for the big inning as such with the Strawberry home run, picking up 2 runs with 1 swing of the bat.
McReynolds goes after the 2-1 pitch and will give Roberto Kelly a chance to make another play on a fly ball. He does so, and that does it for the Mets in the top half of the first. They pick up 2 runs on the Strawberry home run. We go to the Yankee half the first inning. Mets 2, Yankees nothing. Tommy Hutton and Bobby Murcer here at Yankee Stadium, and all of a sudden, Bobby, we see the sunshine on this cool afternoon.
Well, compared to what yesterday was like here in New York, this is a nice day. The Yankees and the Mets being in Florida the entire spring, this kind of invigorates them. You feel strong when you come north to start the season.
You bet. Bernie Williams up there to face right-hander Ron Darling. 28-year-old righty, 73 lifetime victories, and he's been a steady pitcher for the Mets. Foul back, and it's 1-1.
Well, as Lou Piniella mentioned in the opening, that the Mets pitching staff is just probably the strongest in all of baseball right now. Ron Darling is part of that 5-man rotation as you take a look at his string stack. He doesn't walk many people. He's around the plate. He makes the hitter work for his base hits. And Darling has the ball. He turns over, tries to get the hitter to pull the ball, left-handed hitter like Bernie Williams. He also has what you call a fork ball. In today's time, everybody's throwing the split finger as a fork ball, but he really does have the fork ball.
Bernie Williams hits one to center field, giving Mookie Wilson a chance to go back, and Mookie puts it away, 1 down. Bernie Williams hit that ball pretty well to center. And with the wind gusting around in the stadium, good day for the outfielders to hang tough. Here you come from Florida, where it's been in the 80s, about a 40-degree temperature change, but still the wind.
Well, the wind here at Yankee Stadium is kind of different because when the flags are blowing to right field, normally the ball travels better towards left because of the swirling action that you get here at Yankee Stadium. So as an outfielder, you really got to be aware of that. Take a look at the wind and how it's blowing.
And that from someone who roamed the outfield at Yankee Stadium a few times. Ball hit to second by Steve Sachs. Greg Jeffries turns it into an out. 2 quick outs here in the Yankee half of the first. Mets have a 2-0 lead.
We ought to mention that Ricky Henderson not in the lineup this afternoon. He bothered by a slight case of the flu.
There's a look at Steve Balboni. Balboni will step in. Steve started the year with Kansas City last season and really didn't get things going. He went on to the Seattle Mariners and fared much better.
Well, I don't think you talked to Boney. We used to call him Bones when he was here back in 1983. But if you talk to Balboni at the start of this year, you ask him if he'd have been in pinstripes when the Yankees went north in 1989, he would have slapped you.
Fortunately, he didn't slap Greg Gumbel when Greg asked him that on the scorecard show.
Well, he didn't take his hat off. That's the only reason why. Boney's a little sensitive about that hat being on most of the time.
Well, the Yankees acquired him to get some power. He fouls it at the plate and the count evens 2-2.
Well, like Steve said, he said the Yankee Stadium dimensions are a little bit different than when he was here the last time in 1983. It's a little bit shorter. That should help him. Boney has good power, and he will add some right-handed punch. Of course, they get Don Mattingly back in the lineup. Jonesy off of first base, and that'll give the Yankees a little bit more flexibility.
Good off-speed pitch by Darling, strikes out Balboni. The Yankees go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. We'll go to the second inning here in the Bronx, and the Mets lead the Yankees 2-0.
Yankees versus Twins following Yankee scorecard Wednesday at 7:30. MSG Network is New York sports in April. Headlining a great lineup is baseball, as our 72-game regular season coverage of the New York Yankees hits full swing with 13 April games. Plus, you'll get all the highlights and features with MSG's weekly program, Yankees Magazine. It's sure to be an exciting playoff season around Madison Square Garden this spring, and you can follow the Rangers on MSG as they begin their battle for the Stanley Cup. The Knicks are primed for a strong run at the NBA title and wrap up a banner regular season with 8 big games on MSG, including showdowns with Detroit on the 14th, Chicago on the 17th, and Boston on the 20th. Boxing rocks coast to coast in April with 4 explosive cards featuring 2 each from the LA and Feld Forum. Plus, catch amateur boxing's premier showcase all month as the Daily News Golden Gloves propels young fighters into stardom. April is a sports fan's dream on MSG. Look to us for greatness.
Well, on the strength of Darryl Strawberry's 2-run home run in the top half of the first, Mets have a 2-0 lead. They come to bat here in the top half of the second inning. Gary Carter leads things off. The 0-1 pitch to Carter is pulled foul, and quickly it's 0-2. When you look at the New York Mets season, Bobby, and a lot rests on what their veteran catcher can do back behind that plate, and also offensively.
Of course, he's been hampered by the bad knees, and he's a designated hitter this afternoon. The Mets are carrying 3 catchers on their roster at this present time, along with Barry Lyons, who is catching this afternoon, and Mackie Sasser. But yes, they would love to get some time behind home plate with the likes of Gary Carter behind there, but will his knee withstand it? And the age and the problem that he's had.
He went far enough on that off-speed pitch, and he's called out by the home plate umpire, Vic Voltazio. They give the strikeout to Lapoint as Carter heads back to the dugout.
Well, this is a specialty from Lapoint. The off-speed pitch breaking down and in the dirt. Gary Carter trying to hold up. He had him way out in front. That's the style of pitching to Lapoint. You'll see a lot of that this year.
Howard Johnson, whose name has come up in a lot of trade rumors involving the New York Mets, steps in, switch hitter. And he goes after the first pitch, chops it to short. Espinosa fires to first in time, and Howard Johnson is out too quickly. 2 in the second.
Well, Espinosa, he will get a lot of work at shortstop. And of course, Dallas Green has said, along with Pat Corrales, that hey, this is a guy that we're counting on to make the play, and especially the routine play.
Number 33.
Much better defensively than he is offensively. And with the way the Yankee pitching staff shapes up, going to be a lot of ground balls in the infield, and they expect the defense to be behind them, and they're going to have it if the Yankees are going to win.
There's Barry Lyons, who we were talking about a little earlier. He's catching today, and he takes a strike. One of the luxuries that Davey Johnson has is with Carter, Lyons, and Mackey Sasser, a left-handed hitter. He carries the 3 catchers, but someone who was not too happy about that, a youngster and infielder Keith Miller, very upset about being sent down, and probably the reason is because of the 3 catchers on the ball field.
Oh, no doubt that he got caught up in the numbers game. Not many times in today's time that you see teams carry 3 catchers.
And there was one point in the spring where the Yankees toyed with that idea with Bob Guerin, possibly. Dave Lapoint with a 1-2 count on Barry Lyons. Mets have a 2-0 lead here in the second. Count evens 2-2 on that low breaking pitch. Last year, the New York Mets, winners of their division, 100 wins, 60 losses. The 2-2, Lyons is jammed and pops it out of play.
Well, of course, the Mets have won at least 90 games in their last 5 years and have won at least 100 games in 2 of those 5 years. They've got an outstanding ball club. There is absolutely no doubt about that, with the pitching staff, the depth of the bullpen and the stoppers, and the depth on their bench. That's what makes them so strong, not the starting lineup. Yes, we know about those guys, but it's the depth. When you have the injury, you're able to replace that guy with somebody that can play in the big leagues and carry you along until he gets well.
Dave Lapoint trying to stay well. He pitched 5 innings his last time out, threw a pitch in the 6th inning, had to leave with just a little tiredness in his shoulder, and he expects to go 5 this afternoon.
Of course, the Mets can always dip down into their AAA Tidewater Farm Club. They got the kid David West in case they need some more pitching help, along with a few other guys, I'm sure. And of course, Keith Miller, who would be here if the Mets weren't carrying 3 catchers.
2-2 pitch to Lyons. Ground ball. Sack. Scoops. He makes the play. And quietly, the Mets go 1-2-3 in their half of the second inning. After an inning and a half at Yankee Stadium, a 2-0 lead for the New York Mets.
Number 21, Ken Phelps.
Back at Yankee Stadium, and after about 6 weeks in Florida, it's kind of nice to see, even though the temperature is a little cooler, it gives the players a little boost. Everybody feels a little extra strength. I think that goes for broadcasters, too.
No doubt about it.
Here's a guy who has strength, warm weather or cold weather, Ken Phelps. Facing Ron Darling, and Darling misses with that first pitch, ball 1.
Well, Kenny's biggest strength is the fact that he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. And he gives you thunder from the left side. And the Yankees would like to use Kenny Phelps as a designated hitter with a right-hander starting, and also coming off the bench and using him in a ball game, bringing him up to face a right-handed pitcher with the game on the line.
2-0 pitch, he goes after it. Hit it too hard and not very far. And almost slipping Mookie Wilson as he checks back of him to look at that turf at Yankee Stadium.
Number 13, Mike Hutton.
Well, the field is in excellent condition, and Mookie just got his feet all tied up. Misjudged it just a bit because the ball was hit off of the end of the bat. That's the hardest play for an outfielder, really, because you take the full swing, you hit the ball off the end of the bat, and the first reaction by the outfielder is to go back on the ball.
Darling working to pad, and especially with a hitter who has power. Pags struggled a bit in spring training. You can see by that average below 200. And he needs to get it going to stay in there every day, because I think if he falters early in the season, especially against lefties, we'll see Tom Brookins out there.
Well, the Yankees got Tom Brookins to try to shore up the right side at third base.
Check swing, rolls to third. Howard Johnson took his time and makes a play. A good play by a third baseman who's been there for a while. He knew that he didn't have to rush things. He stayed in front of it and calmly picked it and made a good strong throw to first.
Well, the check swing, Pagliarulo, he didn't want to swing at this pitch, but he got his hands out in front. And Howard Johnson playing about regular at third base. He had plenty of time to throw Pags out, who does not run that well.
2 away, and Mel Hall's the hitter. Mets have a 2-0 lead. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Mel Hall, in his brief stay with the Yankees in spring training, led them in home runs. Hit 3 home runs in Florida.
Well, I think Mel Hall could help the Yankees in the home run department. How much he will be able to help them this year, I don't know, with the lineup and all the injuries that the Yankees have had. With the regular lineup in there, that placing Mel Hall in that lineup, I think he could definitely help the Yankees. In fact, the Yankees got Mel Hall because he added offense to their ball club, and with the fact that Dave Winfield is gone, and of course Claudell Washington and Jack Clark. That's over 250 RBIs, Tommy. That's out of this lineup in 1989. You just can't hardly replace those kind of numbers.
Mel Hall will get some playing time this year. Pitch inside misses, and it's 2-2. Mentioned that it's a little cool here this afternoon. It's not all that bad, guys, down in the dugout with that heater. But it is chillier, as I mentioned, than it was the last few days in spring training. Mel Hall pulls one to the sure-handed first baseman. Hernandez makes the out. The Yankees have made 6 straight outs off Ron Darling. 2 innings have been played at Yankee Stadium, and we'll go to the third with the Mets on top, 2-0. Well, there's a good shot of the 54-year-old native of Delaware, George Dallas Green. And wonder what's going through his mind right now, Bobby.
Well, he can't believe what's happening.
Number 21.
Of course, a manager has no control over injuries, and injuries play a big important part on any ball club of whether they're going to win or lose. During a season, and the Yankees have had their fair share of injuries so far. The season hasn't even started yet.
Shortstop Kevin Elster leads it off, and he goes after the first pitch, loops it to left, not too deep. Bernie Williams with the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out. And to continue your thought on injuries, how about the Milwaukee Brewers with Paul Molitor? Everybody said, well, if Molitor stays healthy, then the Brewers have an excellent chance. Well, he's going to be out for about 3 weeks. He dislocated 4 ligaments in his ring finger in a running drill. It wasn't even during a game.
Yeah, he was horsing around with another player, and he just happened to jam his ring finger, and ended up having to have an operation on it. It's out 3 weeks, as you mentioned. But the fact that Milwaukee also has Teddy Higuera, the #1 starter, out with back surgery. Juan Nieves is probably going to miss the rest of the season. He's another left-handed starter for the Milwaukee Brewers due to a rotator cuff injury.
Mookie Wilson hits a hard shot for third, but Pag stays with it, makes a play. 2 down. On that 1 hopper off the bat of Mookie Wilson, who's now 0 for 2. The Mets have a 2-0 lead.
Well, they call it the hot corner for one reason. Just because of those type of plays there. You got to have the good reflexes to play at third base, because that ball gets on top of you in a hurry.
Greg Jeffries, who doubled his first time up, takes the pitch low. Jeffries a switch hitter, and he's the type of switch hitter that has almost the identical swing, left-handed and right-handed. And that's rare in switch hitters. Usually a switch hitter one way, a little different stance, maybe a low ball hitter, and a different type the other way.
Well, this youngster has really come on strong for the New York Mets. Outstanding player, the kind of player that you need to ignite a ball club such as the New York Mets, batting up in the top of that order with all the thunder hitting behind him. But he's the kind of guy also that can come up with a big hit for you. He's not just the kind of a batter that you have in a lineup to move a player over. Greg Jeffries, he can leave the yard. Hits, like you say, from both sides. That's a big plus for a guy that can hit up into the top of the lineup.
He hits this one hard. Left center field and over the head of Bernie Williams. Jeffries will have another extra base hit. He'll stay at second base as Williams gets it in a hurry. Jeffries, with his second double in the ball game, shows some pop to left center field, and I believe his power fooled Bernie Williams.
The ball took off on Bernie Williams, and Bernie took off straight across in left field. Jeffries with a wonderful swing, a beautiful swing. And then all of a sudden, Williams realizes that the ball is carrying a little bit further than he thought, and he has to backpedal. But he started off straight across in left field. Of course, here in left field at Yankee Stadium, you've got to really know your depth out there because it's a tough field to play.
Yes, it is. Hernandez, the batter. Lapoint gets a strike into him.
Left field at old Yankee Stadium, when it was 430 in left center field, you couldn't tell whether you were playing shallow or deep, and what it looked like a regular setting here at Yankee Stadium, because left field was so deep, you were actually playing too deep for the hitter.
Up high to Keith Hernandez.
Did that confuse you?
I'm trying to follow you.
In left field, what I'm trying to say, what looks like a regular position for an outfielder at Yankee Stadium in left field, in the old ballpark, was actually you were playing too deep because of the 430 mark in left center.
Fouled off. It's 1-2. There are 2 out. Jeffries is at second. I want to continue that and ask you one thing then, as an outfielder, as a left fielder at Yankee Stadium. What do you gear yourself by? Who do you gear yourself by?
Well, you just got to wait until July when the grass is worn down where everybody's been playing, and you know exactly where to stand.
Spoken like a true former veteran outfielder.
You DH for the first 3 months, and then you go out in the outfield in the last 3 months.
I will say, as you mentioned last inning, the field looks in tremendous shape. The outfield, even with the rain we had yesterday in the area. 1-2 pitch to Hernandez, and he fouls it off at the plate. Count stays 1-2.
They completely take all the sod out of Yankee Stadium every year and resod it. I don't think I've ever seen the field look as good as it is for the start of the season. The grass and the sod seem to have meshed together real good. There's no high spots, no low spots, which sometimes you can get, but until the grass begins to really grow. But of course, it's been kind of a mild winter in New York too, so that has helped.
1-2 breaking ball, strikes out Keith Hernandez. Good pitch by Dave Lapoint to get a tough man in this situation. A base hit for the Mets, no runs. We'll go to the bottom of the third. Mets have 2, the Yankees nothing. Speaking of the Rangers tonight in their game, it'll be under new coach Phil Esposito. Michel Bergeron getting the axe. Is that how you say it in hockey? They get the axe or they get the stick?
Well, I think it all means the same. It's bottom line.
Don Slaught up there trying to pick up a base hit. Yankees hitless so far. Ron Darling, and they still will be when this ball comes down to the left fielder. Kevin McReynolds with the play. Darling has set down 7 straight Yankees.
Number 38, Alvaro.
Mets have a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the third inning. Ron Darling, who will always remember April 1st. This being April Fool's Day, but he wasn't fooled in 1982. He was traded. He was traded to the New York Mets along with Walt Terrell for Lee Mazzilli. Alvaro Espinosa steps in to hit. Espinosa spent the majority of 1988 playing for the Columbus Clippers. Gives Darryl Strawberry a chance. Strawberry drifts back under it, makes a play. 2 down in the third. And Darling seemed to be struggling at all, and he did not struggle his last time out. His last outing in Florida, he went 7 innings, he had just 1 hit.
Well, the Yankees certainly haven't hit the ball that hard off the
Number
Darling.
39.
He's the kind of guy pitcher that will make the hitters put the ball in play. The Yankees have done that, but they have failed to reach base via base hit. It's early.
It's early. It's 2-0. Mets have the lead. Here's Roberto Kelly. Roberto playing in center field and hitting in that number 9 spot.
The Yankees, with all the injuries that they've had and all the offense, has left the lineup because of injuries.
A chopper stayed fair. Howard Johnson misplayed it. He thought it was going to go foul as he went into foul territory to field it. The ball stayed up the line, and Kelly reaches first base.
I think the ball hit a piece of dirt down the third baseline and kicked back towards the fair side. There it is right there. And then Howard Johnson, he was running over to make a foul ball catch on it.
Bernie Williams.
He's got to put a glove on it because if it goes over the bag, it's an extra base hit.
Well, Roberto Kelly picks up the Yankees' first base hit on that hopper up the third baseline that stayed fair. Here's Bernie Williams.
Well, Bernie Williams, take a look at Kelly at first base with 2 out. Bernie Williams, a switch hitting outfielder, one of the bright spots in the Yankee organization. This youngster could be playing for the Yankees sooner than expected. I don't expect Bernie Williams to stick with the ball club there. The Yankees are still about 3 men over their 24-man roster. So 3 guys are going to have to be cut. Probably Bernie Williams will be one, simply because Dallas Green wants Bernie Williams to play every day.
There's that fork ball by Ron Darling, and it fools Bernie Williams.
And with the Yankees the way they are set up right now, they're going to have Henderson playing left field, Kelly in center field, and then they're going to probably platoon in right field with Mel Hall and Ward. So with Bernie Williams, the youngster, and the bright future that he has, it's better for him to go down and play every day in AAA baseball.
1-1 pitch, ball 2. I don't think a lot of fans realize the importance of game playing. Darling working to Bernie Williams. We're talking about the youngster. Darling, of course, got a lot of opportunities in the minor leagues, and you just need to get those innings pitched if you're a pitcher, or those innings played, and those at-bats if you're a hitter. 2-1 with the runner going at first. Lyons with the toss, and Roberto Kelly steals second base.
They were giving Kelly a lot of room at first base, probably because there was 2 outs in the inning. As you can see, Kelly got a big jump. Not a chance for Lyons to throw him out of second base, but I think he basically surprised the Mets because being down 2 runs and 2 outs in the inning, that may be what the Yankees have to do this year, is surprise some people.
And Darling really never gave Lyons a chance because Roberto had a tremendous jump.
Yeah, he wasn't even paying any attention to Kelly at first. Darling wasn't. But that's what Kelly adds, is speed to this lineup.
So Roberto's in scoring position. 2 men are out. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and the Mets lead the Yankees 2-0. 3-1 pitch, called strike. 3-2. Last year for Bernie Williams, he hit .338, but he played in A-ball at Prince William. So he really does need that year of AA, perhaps AAA, and get a lot of playing time.
Oh, he's green behind the ears. Like you say, you learn by mistakes, and they just don't want you to make mistakes here on the major league level. They want you to do your learning down in the minor leagues, and then when you're ready to play every day in the major leagues, that's when you come up here and play.
Darling with the 3-2, and he fools Bernie Williams with that fork ball again. It changes up on him, the ball falls down, and Bernie Williams strikes out. That does it for the Yanks in the 3rd. They get a base hit, but no runs. After 3 at Yankee Stadium, 2-0 Mets. Mets coming to bat here in the top of the 4th inning with a 2-0 lead, and the reason for that 2-0 lead is stepping in. Darryl Strawberry, a 2-run upper deck home run in the 1st inning. Off left-hander Dave Lapoint. Breaking ball finds the outside corner for a strike.
Of course, this young man, Strawberry, he has more talent than he knows. Certainly a dominant factor now in baseball, and Darryl, of course, he likes to mix it up, not only with the bat, but he likes to use his fist every once in a while. And guys around the league in baseball know that Darryl Strawberry does not like to be brushed back.
Hard shot, backhanded by Pags, and his throw in time. Balboni showing a pretty good stretch at first base, and Pags making the good play. 1 down.
One thing I would worry about Darryl Strawberry, if I was Strawberry, is the fact that, you know, the way they are paying these players down the money, I would, that ball's off the end of the bat, and that's the reason it fooled Pags at 3rd base. But I'd be careful. I mean, one swing in a fight someplace, or if you throw your shoulder out of place, it could ruin your career.
Kevin McReynolds, first ball hitting, fly ball for Roberto Kelly.
Tell you what, in baseball today, with the $2 million, and now we're moving up to the $3 million a year contract, you got to become a lover instead of a fighter. With those kind of dollar signs that are being bandied around.
Well, before we go any further with this, I want to tell you that tickets for all Yankee home games are on sale at the Yankee Stadium Advanced Ticket Windows. We're open 7 days a week from 9 to 5. And at all Ticketmaster ticket centers. You can call 212-307-7171 as Gary Carter takes strike one. Or in New Jersey, call 201-507-8900. Gary Carter struck out in the second inning as Lapoint misses with the next pitch, turned a changeup over, and it's 1-1. Last year on August 11th, Gary Carter hit his 300th Major League home run. Hit it off Al Nipper in Chicago against the Cubs. And that seemed to be a real struggle for the kid, as they call him, with the Mets, to reach that 300 plateau in home runs. 2-1 pitch. Carter hammers it to left. Bernie Williams moves back. He's there. Mets go 1-2-3 in the top of the fourth. And we'll be back at the bottom of the fourth inning. The Yankees coming up. The Mets lead 2-zip.
It's time to play ball. Yankees versus Twins following Yankee scorecard Wednesday at 7:30.
Hi, I'm Bobby Murcer, and as you know, I love the game of baseball. One of the most popular hobbies today is collecting baseball cards. That is the reason I am offering you this rare set of baseball cards today. The other reason is the baseball alumni team. Every set you buy benefits the retired baseball players and their families. This set is not available in the retail market and is being offered in a very limited quantity. Once they are sold out, there will not be any more printed. So don't wait. This is an incredible set of collector quality cards. The card itself is unique. It's a magic motion card made to show 3 different images of the superstar player. And as a bonus, there are 17 baseball trivia cards also included. So don't miss this opportunity to get this rare test issue of superstar baseball cards we call the Game Winner Set. We call it the Game Winner Set because it is made up of 25 of the superstar players of today, like Don Mattingly, Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, and many more. If you are not a collector, now is the time to get started. There is only one way you can get this incredible set of cards. You can send a check or money order for $10 plus $3.50 shipping and handling to Game Winners, P.O. Box 726, Plainsboro, New Jersey, 08536, or call our toll-free number at 1-800-537-1075 and order by Visa or MasterCard. So order your Game Winner Set today. Hurry and help the baseball alumni team. Only a limited quantity available.
Well, it's an exhibition game, but there's a nice crowd on hand here at Yankee Stadium, and for good cause. These 2 ball games, exhibition games played, with the proceeds going to many different charities around the New York area. So for a good cause, a good ball game. It's moving along quickly. 2-0 Mets lead. Here's Steve Sachs to lead off the Yankee fourth. The Yankees thought they had a hit on Roberto Kelly's infield chopper in the 3rd inning, but rule change has been made, and it was charged an error to Howard Johnson. So the Yankees still hitless off right-hander Ron Darling. Steve Sachs hasn't been hitless. He has a 7-game streak going as the Yankees wind up their spring training schedule.
Well, I think it's a wonderful thing that the Mets and the Yankees get back together again. It's been since 1983 when the Mayor's Trophy game was still being played here in New York between the Mets and the Yankees. But high fly ball to shallow center field. This will be an out and an easy out for Mookie. But it's great that both of the teams, the Yankees and the Mets, can get together and play baseball for charity in New York City. And that's what it's all about anyway. And I'm glad to see that the Mets and the Yankees are back playing again in New York City against each other in an exhibition game. And I think before too long, Tommy, we will see the Mets and the Yankees in a Subway Series, and something that's very real.
Steve Balboni. It's the first ball to Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry grabs it. 2 down in the bottom of the 4th. For the Yankees hitting a lot of first pitches. Ron Darling has been steady. He's thrown a lot of strikes. He's not walked a batter. And he has 2 strikeouts. Look at Darling, and that's really his credential, the fact that he's so steady. The last 5 years, he's thrown 200 or more innings. He seems to always keep the Mets in a ball game.
Now, both of these pitchers, as you mentioned, Darling and, of course, Lapoint, they're going to be around the strike zone. They don't walk many batters. In fact, the batters, they've got to swing if they're going to have a chance to do anything against these pitchers. They're going to walk them.
First pitch to Ken Phelps is a called strike. You look back at Darling's last 7 innings. He pitched in Florida against the Expos. Gave up just 1 hit. So far through 3 2/3, no hits.
I mentioned earlier about Darling throwing the forkball. That probably needs a little bit of an explanation. The forkball is the pitch that they wedge in between the first 2 fingers, and that's basically what everybody used to throw back in the olden days. And then we came up with the designer pitch of the split-fingered fastball, and same reaction as the forkball, only the split finger is the type of pitch that you hold and you just kind of overlap your fingers on the baseball. You don't wedge it, the baseball, in between the fingers, and you can throw it much harder. That pitch was, of course, the big pitch brought on by Bruce Sutter, the split-fingered fastball. And it really has turned some pitchers' careers around because of the fact that they were able to come up with the split finger. But not everybody can throw that pitch.
And then even made more popular by Roger Craig when he was pitching coach with the Detroit Tigers. Now the San Francisco manager. Counts 2-2 to Ken Phelps.
Have you ever tried to wedge a ball in between your first 2 fingers? That's how Don Robinson, wasn't that how Don Robinson? Jeff Robinson, I mean,
Tigers.
Tigers hurt his hand, his fingers, was walking around with a ball wedged in between his first 2 fingers to try to get adjusted to throwing the split-fingered fastball, and he ended up injuring his hand and almost ruined his career.
Ron Darling working to Ken Phelps. Counts 2-2. They're 2 out in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Mets lead 2-0. Phelps pulls one foul, and the count will stay. And just a reminder to you, after the 4th inning, as we head to the 5th and 6th innings, Greg Gumbel will be in for the play-by-play.
All right.
Greg hustled up from the dugout area after his scorecard show with Lou Piniella. What a good feature on our MSG network before every Yankee ball game.
Of course, Greg will be in here telling it like it is.
2-2 pitch to Phelps. Pulled. Hernandez bobbles, stays with it, and he'll beat Phelps to the bag, and the Yankees go 1-2-3. So 4 innings have been played at Yankee Stadium, and the Mets lead the Yankees 2-0.
Yeah. Well, the Yankees open their home schedule with a 3-game series against the Cleveland Indians. That's April the 8th, 9th, and 10th, and each game features a Yankee giveaway. All fans at the stadium for the opening day matchup between the Yankees and the Indians on April the 7th will take home a copy of Yankees Magazine, compliments of New York Lotto. And on April the 8th and 9th, Ivory Soap presents Yankee Calendar Weekend. So opening 3 days here at Yankee Stadium will be giveaway days. So all the Yankee fans, we hope you'll show up. And showing up now here in the top of the 5th inning is Greg Gumbel to call the play-by-play for us.
Afternoon, Robert.
How are you doing?
This isn't Florida, is it?
No, sir.
Looked all over for an orange grove. Couldn't find a one. Howard Johnson takes a cut at the first pitch, leading off here in the top of the 5th inning, and fouls it back, strike 1. In fact, that's pretty much the sentiment of all the players down on the field today.
Tell you what, it's nice, though. I'm playing spring training a little over a month, being in that hot weather down there. When you come north and you get this little crisp weather up here, it really does do a lot to bring life back into your own body and your bat and your glove and whatever.
Of course, it could be a world of difference in Toronto or Montreal. And in fact, we've seen worse days at the beginning of April up here.
No kidding.
1-1 the count on Johnson, who grounded to short in the 2nd inning. And looks at that off-speed pitch up high, 2-1. Get a chance to listen to Tommy John before the game talking. Says he accepted the invitation by the Yankees to work out in Florida mainly to showcase himself to other teams outside 3-1.
Well, that's quite a story. Tommy John, of course, I think is exactly his sentiments. He thought that, well, all I'm really doing is staying in shape and hoping that somebody will want me at the end of spring training. And believe it or not, it was the Yankees who wanted him. He wanted him for the opening day assignment in Minnesota.
I believe that's been Tommy's story the last several years. He's just coming down to show himself and ends up a valuable member of the staff.
Well, when you get the age of Tommy John, every year they figure, well, that's going to be the last year for this guy because he's 45 years old. Well, Tommy John, he doesn't believe that because he knows inside that he can still pitch and his body can withstand it.
Line drive to third. Peliarulo has it, out number 1. Here's Barry Lyons, who grounded out to second to end the second inning. Dave Lapoint pitching not badly at all. Let's take a look at the line drive right at Peliarulo, who didn't have to do much. Lapoint really with just a big mistake to Darryl Strawberry, and Greg Jeffries has touched him for a couple of 2-base hits.
Unfortunately, though, those are the kind of guys you cannot make the mistakes on. That's the difference in winning and losing. What surprises me, I guess, about Lapoint is the fact that he pitches up in the strike zone more than I thought he did. With the kind of stuff that he features up there, he wants to be down in the strike zone.
Here's one up high and down the left field line. That's a fair ball, and Lyons around first, headed for second, and he was the win standing up with a double. 4th hit of the day for the Mets, 1 home run and 3 doubles. And Lyons is 1 for 2, and with 1 out, a man on second.
Well, Lapoint relies on keeping the ball down in the strike zone. That ball was up in the strike zone. And because it was up there, Lyons gets a double out of it.
And here's shortstop Kevin Elster. With a runner at second and 1 out. Mets lead at 2-0 on a 2-run first inning homer by Darryl Strawberry. 5th meeting of the season between the Yankees, preseason between the Yankees and the Mets. Split the first 4 down in Florida 2-piece. Yankees without a hit here this afternoon so far.
Well, the Yankees and the Mets certainly are not wasting any time. Most of them swinging at the first pitch.
You know, when I said that, Tommy Hutton said I went and jinxed it.
Why is that?
I said this ball game is really moving along, and he said, well, now you did it.
Like you're going to slow the game down there.
Well,
right?
like he's going to miss dinner or something. 1-1. Outside, 2-1.
Well, with the way they're playing right now, you're going to be about 2 or 3 hours early for dinner.
Here's Mookie Wilson. The next hitter, 0 for 2 so far today. The sun's been bouncing in and out of the clouds most of the afternoon. It is in right now. 2-1. Down low, 3-1. Imagine the Yankee brass is keeping an extra close eye on Lapoint with the little shoulder stiffness that he had back in Florida.
I'm sure each inning, when the inning is over with, Billy Connors, the pitching coach, goes over and talks to Lapoint, asking how he feels.
Foul back. Full count now, 3-2. Barry Lyons at the bottom of your picture out at second base and 1 out.
Well, one of the things that you would like to do with what has happened to the Yankees so far, and a close-up look of Elster, is ignore Lapoint when he comes into the dugout. You don't want to really hear it if he does have a sore shoulder. You've heard enough. Just, you know, twiddle your fingers and look the other way.
Hope that he just takes a seat quietly and gets set for the next inning. Lyons off of second, 1 out. And a full count pitch to Elster, and Lapoint backs off.
Well, you're right. You jinxed it. Play has certainly slowed down now. Thanks a lot, Gumbel.
Lapoint's full count pitch, bounce back up the middle. Runner will advance to third. Sacks it to throw to first in time. And there's Lyons moving over to third. So the Mets now with a runner at third and 2 out, and here's Mookie Wilson. when Lapoint has been able to get the ball down in the strike zone, they haven't hit him very hard.
No.
As you said, when it's up.
Well, the hitters are going to put the ball in play because Lapoint will not strike out many batters. But when he's up in the strike zone, instead of hitting it on the ground.
Here's a drive into center field, and on his horse is Kelly. He is there and makes the catch.
He hit it in the air.
So the Mets lead 1, and we've played 4.5. It's the Mets 2 and the Yankees nothing. More Yankee baseball coming your way here on the MSG Network. It is Wednesday night at 7:30 for the Yankee Scorecard pregame show. And we're watch the Yankees tangle with the Minnesota Twins. That's Yankee baseball coming up Wednesday night at 7:30 here on the MSG Network.
Well, we have a new right fielder. Lee Mazzelli has now gone in to play right field for the Mets. Errol Strawberry out of the game. And at third base, Dave Magadan. Howard Johnson now out. So Magadan at third and Mazzelli in right field.
Lee Mazzilli, no stranger to the fans in these parts. Here's Mike Pagliarulo. Grounded out to third his first time up and fouls Darling's first pitch back out of play. The Yankees still looking for their first hit. Mets 2 runs, 4 hits and an error. The Yankees no runs, no hits, and no errors. Ron Darling's 0-1 to pass. 0-2.
Well, the pitchers are allowed to go to their mouth with their pitching hand because it is a little bit breezy and cool this afternoon. They have to get permission from the umpire to be able to do that. You can see Darling now blowing that warm breath on his hand to keep his you know, pitchers have to pitch by feet, and when it's cold, you lose the feeling in the tips of your fingers. And when you do that, you can't feel the baseball, and obviously you get wild. And a lot of times, cold weather blowing on your hands too, it gives moisture to your hands, and the ball is not as slick in your hand. You get a better feel of it.
Another foul back, still 0-2. That's something that's predetermined before the game. The umpires will say it's cold enough, therefore you're allowed to go.
Yeah, you have to have permission from the umpire to be able to do that.
If we do that on a pitch-by-pitch basis, you're talking about really slowing the game down here, Bobby.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No balls, 2 strikes to Pag.
Just as long as there's no foreign substance blown on your fingers.
And folks back at third base. Getting a wealth of baseballs off the bat of Pagliarulo. There's Dallas Green.
Dallas's hair a little bit whiter than what it was when he went to spring training. I'm not sure.
We'll be the first to tell you it has been anything but a happy spring. Pagliarulo again fouls one off to the third base side. That's about 5 baseballs Pagliarulo has offered to the fans on the left side, and it's still an 0-2 count. Breaking ball down low, strike 3.
Well, that's an excellent fork ball that Darling has. And you can see that Darling featured some hard stuff to Pagliarulo and then came back with the fork ball. Pag's way out in front of. Look at that ball, just the bottom completely falls out of it.
Third strikeout of the day for Ron Darling, and here's Mel Hall. Hall 0 for 1, grounding out to first to end the second inning.
You know, a lot of guys, Greg, used to complain. I'm talking about the hitters, and I was one of them. They used to complain about, I thought that the pitcher was cheating, you know, with the substance on his fingers. And it looked more like a spitter, the split-fingered fastball and the forkball. Same reaction.
But the problem with the spitter is a lot of pitchers didn't know how much it was going to break.
Well, you know, the problem between the spitter and the split finger and the forkball is it's just not sanitary. You're liable to catch something in this day and time when the guy is throwing saliva on the baseball. You never know where the saliva is going to end up.
That's why the spitter is outlawed these days.
Right.
Is because it's not sanitary.
Right. It's a hittable pitch. It's just outlawed because it's not sanitary.
Goodness knows that's the only unsanitary thing baseball players do.
Well, they wear sanitary hose. They wear those white socks are called sanitaries.
1-2 now to Mel Hall.
You and I will probably end up in a sanitarium before this year's out.
We'll talk a little bit about those sanitary dugout steps once in a while. 1 and 2 down low to Hall, 2 and 2. Now Hall with a couple of spring training home runs, including one in that 7-run ninth inning the Yankees enjoyed at Dodgertown on Tuesday. 11-10 loss to the Dodgers. Good showing by the Yankees up there. They go into the ninth inning losing 11-3. And Hall swings and misses. Second strikeout of the inning for Darling, and 2 down brings up Don Slott. Could have been very easy for the Yankees to call it quits that day, but rallied for 7 runs in the top of the ninth.
Darn near pulled it out when they were dead.
Here's Don Slott. And Slott grounds it down to third. Magadan. And that retires the side. So the Yankees hitless through 5. We go to the top of the 6th inning. The Mets lead it by a score of 2-0. Right now, let's check in for what's happening in sports at the MSG Sports Deck. The Yankee Stadium, everyone, for the top of the 6th inning. The Mets leading it by a score of 2-0. And Richard Dotson has come on to pitch now. And a shot of the Mets dugout. A lot of teams in major leagues should have as many problems as the Mets do, either in their lineup or out in the bullpen. The Candyman, John Candelaria, who is showing a bit of a limp today. Tommy Hutton rejoins us now, and Candy's showing a happy face, but I'm sure the Yankee brass doesn't like to see him limping on that right knee.
No, they don't. The thing about Candy, he's pitched well, and Candy had that happy smile. He's talking with a former teammate of his with the Pittsburgh Pirates first base coach for the New York Mets, Bill Robinson, comes over to chat with Candy, and the knee is still evident with Candelaria. The thing that makes him such an outstanding pitcher, he still has that good stuff and the good arm, but you hate to see him going out there pitching on a knee that's not 100%.
And that's been the big concern with the Yankees throughout the spring, is not necessarily how well he throws the ball during spring training games, but how that knee reacts the day after. Top of the 6th inning, and here is Greg Jeffries, who had Dave Lapoint's number down pat. Faced Lapoint twice and doubled twice off of him, and will now switch sides of the plate to go against the right-handed Dotson. First pitch is a called strike. There was some question, maybe as recently as a week to a week and a half ago, as to whether or not Richard Dotson would make this Yankee staff this season. Saw his numbers there briefly.
The thing that Dotson needs to do, and it's something that Billy Connors has worked with him on, is get that arm strength back. An earned run average last year of 5 is not going to get you a lot of wins.
Jeffries down the left field line, base hit, makes the turn at first. He'll try for 2. The draw might get him. He is in there. Good play all the way around, and the hustling Greg Jeffries has his third 2-base hit of the day.
Well, we talked about Jeffries before, telling you how he has a similar stroke, left-handed and right-handed. Well, his 2 doubles off Lapoint were right-handed. This time he steps up, goes the other way from the left side, and he really hustled that in. A lot of hitters would just be content with a single on that, but Greg Jeffries made that a 2-base hit. A hustling slide. He got there quickly with that head-first slide. Sachs thought he might have had a chance, but didn't quite get the tag down in time.
Throw had to be on the bag to have a chance of getting him. It was not, and the Mets with a runner at second and nobody out. Hernandez up high, ball 1.
Greg, the Mets have 5 hits, 4 doubles, and a home run.
Richard Dotson still trying to find the magic that made him a big winner for a couple of years in Chicago with the White Sox. One 1-0, up high, 2-0.
Say, Billy Connors had an interesting drill with Richard Dotson and with Charlie Hudson before Hudson went on to the Detroit Tigers with Tom Brookins. And to try to increase that arm strength, he had them taking ground balls at shortstop, making backhanded plays and a long throw to first to extend and get some arm strength.
strike one. That is interesting because usually managers will blanch at the thought of a pitcher in the infield and opening himself up to the possibility of bad hops. 2-1, Hernandez. Hit in the air in short right field. On comes Mel Hall and makes the catch.
Keith Hernandez is not normally considered a pull hitter, but he's a situation type hitter, and that time he failed to do the job. He knew he had Jeffries at second base. He has some power coming up, even though Strawberry's out of the lineup. Mazzilli
Right fielder.
is the next hitter. Hernandez wanted to get that ball on the ground, or at least deep enough to right field to move Jeffries to third base, and he didn't do it.
Here's Lee Mazzilli, who took over in right field for Darryl Strawberry in the 5th inning, hitting 193 this spring. Is that how we can refer to you the rest of the season? Situation type hitter?
Situation type hitter, that's right. Pesky.
Pesky. And Mazzilli goes around, strike one. Gritty.
Well, you have situation type players. Dallas Green likes situation type baseball.
Then you have your gamers.
You can find a category for just about anybody.
0-1 to Mazzilli. Grounded down to first. Balboni will make the play as Jeffries moves to third. So Mazzilli's grounded to first. Moves the runner over to third with 2 out, and here's Kevin McReynolds. No matter what the situation, this guy is not a bad guy to have at the plate.
Say what, he quietly goes about his job. McReynolds, even though he's 0 for 2 in the ball game today, 27 home runs last year, 99 RBIs.
I guess we could call him multi-dimensional, couldn't we?
You put him out there with Strawberries and Hernandez's and Carters around him, and he just sneaks in, does his job, and leaves the ballpark, and nobody even questions what he does.
The quiet man. McReynolds hits it deep to left center field. This will get the run home. Off the wall on one hop, and McReynolds pulls into second with yet another 2-base hit for the Mets. And it's 3-0.
Well, the Mets showing some extra base pop in their bats this afternoon. McReynolds mentioning that he had 99 RBIs last year, and all you have to do is look back over on what he's done for the Mets. Got a breaking ball out over the plate, was able to get the arms extended and get some power to it. When you do that, make a pitch like that to a hitter with McReynolds' power, he's going to send it into the gap, and he picked up the RBI.
Gary Carter now looking to pick up an RBI. Man out at second with 2 out. He pops it in the air. Short center field. Roberto Kelly coming on and makes the catch. So Jeffries doubles, McReynolds doubles in home, and we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Mets lead it by a score 3-0. Copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any make that publication, Tommy, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and Madison Square Garden Network is prohibited.
Well, the Mets make some changes as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Right-hander Terry Leach, who's really found a home the last few years with the Mets. He'll come on to relieve Ron Darling, who was almost perfect. Well, he was perfect. No hits, had 4 strikeouts, no walks. So Leach got a 7-2 record and a fine 2.54 earned run average for the Mets last year. Takes over on the mound. New center fielder for the Mets, Lenny Dykstra. He'll relieve Mookie Wilson. Going on to play first base to take over for Keith Hernandez is Tim Tuffle. And back behind the plate is Mackey Sasser taking over from Barry Lyons. And comes back Greg Gumbel.
Wholesale changes. So the Mets now with McReynolds in left, Dykstra in center, Lee Mazzilli in right. Third to first, it's Magadan, Elster, Jeffries, and Tuffle. Leach on the mound, and Mackey Sasser behind the plate. And here is Alvaro Espinoza. Fly to right in the 3rd inning. Pushes one up the first base line. Tuffle is there to make the play, and it's out number 1.
Well, Espinoza, seeing that the Mets made a change, took the Gold Glover off first base. tried to push one to the right side with the Yankees still looking for their first base hit. That time what you try to do, though, as a hitter, you try to push it out toward the second baseman. And Espinosa got a little bit too much on the line, a little too much on it.
Here's Roberto Kelly. Had 3 hits in 1 game against the Mets earlier this spring. Was on base in the 3rd inning when his roller up the third baseline was mishandled by Howard Johnson. Outside, ball 1. Think of all the Yankees who were a little bit chilled down on the field before the game. Roberto is the coldest of them all. 1-0 pitch down the right field line, foul. A lot of the players say they're a little bit recharged when they come back into the cooler weather. Is that the case with you?
Yeah, it sure does that. Yes, it does. You get to a point in spring training where it's a little tiring that last week, physically, mentally, with the hot weather. Once you get a taste of the coolness, you're rejuvenated a little bit.
1-1, foul back 1-2.
I think another thing, Greg, that's good about this ball game and the game tomorrow at Shea Stadium, these two teams playing, you get in a habit in spring training playing in front of smaller crowds, 6,000 to 7,000 people, and then all of a sudden opening day is shoved upon you. But this gives you a little bit of a break. You get used to a large crowd, which there certainly is today.
1-2. Outside, 2-2. Also, it gets the players back into the feeling that the fans are a little further away during the regular season than they are during the spring. Leach with the 2-2 pitch to Kelly up the middle in the center field, and there's the first Yankee hit of the day. Only the second Yankee base runner of the day, and both times it was Roberto Kelly.
Yeah, initially Kelly had been given a base hit on that ball. He hit up the third baseline in the 3rd inning that Howard Johnson thought was going to go foul, and the ball stayed fair, and it got by Hojo. But then the scoring was changed, and Johnson was given an error.
Here's Bernie Williams, a fly to center, and he struck out swinging. Stands in 0 for 2. Comes foul at first baseline.
Just in case a Yankee fan has tuned us on and saying, where's Ricky Henderson? He is not injured. There are so many other injuries going around the Yankee camp that Bernie's getting a chance to play today with Ricky out with a cold. He's not feeling real well, and you hate to stick somebody out there with a cold and that type of flu or virus when we have a coolness in the temperature.
0-1. Outside, 1-1.
Well, he'll be ready in Minnesota.
Which is more than we can say at this point with any degree of certainty about Don Mattingly.
Yeah, the report just prior to the game was that Don Mattingly's back problem is similar to what he's had in the past. Just muscle spasms. There's no disc being talked about yet anyway, and it's a day-to-day thing.
1-1. Kelly with a stolen base earlier in the game is off. No, he stopped halfway up the line and came back. 2-1.
That's an interesting play. I don't know if Roberto did that purposely or if he just felt he didn't get a good jump, but once he started to go, and it did look like he was going, the second baseman, Greg Jeffries, went over to cover the bag, and that left the entire right side of the infield open for any type of ground ball had Bernie Williams pulled one.
Here's Kelly with the lead. 3 stolen bases in the preseason so far this spring. Doesn't go. Fouled at the plate. 2-2. In the pregame, Lou Piniella and I were talking about the injuries, and Lou mentioned the working out throughout the off-season that the players are doing now, and particularly with weights. Did you do weights?
No, I didn't. I started to do the Nautilus machines later on in my career, which is a little different than free weights. But that was an interesting point. I'd never really thought about that, because you think of the shape that the players seem to be in nowadays, but it seems to be more injury.
Kelly goes outside, throw down, and he's in there. So both times Roberto Kelly has reached base. He has stolen second, and the Yankees with a runner in scoring position now, 1 out and a full count on Bernie Williams. And again, he got a good jump.
Yes, he did. It shows that Dallas Green is confident in Roberto Kelly in that number 9 spot, and also confident in his speed with the Yankees trailing by 3 runs to give him the green light. Let him go.
Dallas looking to rally his troops. Here's the full count pitch to Bernie Williams. Foul up the first baseline.
Yeah, a guy like Leach will drive a young hitter crazy if he keeps throwing that sinker. You say to yourself, well, I'm from the left side, and this guy's a right-hander. He drops down. He's easy to pick up. But if he keeps burying that sinker with that motion that he has, and a young hitter keeps going after it, he'll just keep putting it further away and a little bit lower each time. That makes it tough in this situation for a young hitter.
See if Leach gives Williams something he can pull. Right back at the mound. Leach holds the runner at second and throws him out.
Perfect example right there of the young hitter against a more veteran pitcher. And Roger McDowell, who is a veteran pitcher, loosens for the Mets. But Bernie Williams tried to pull that ball, and it wasn't a pitch too close.
Roger McDowell is a good example of one philosophy that players have about spring training, that it's not a time where you show how good you are, it's just a time to get your work in. Roger was tagged for the Grand Slam home run by Mike Aldretti down in Florida yesterday. It gave the Expos a victory over the Mets, so I guess you'd have to adopt the philosophy in that case.
Is Roger ever happy to get out of Florida?
Ball one to Steve Sachs, who has bounced to second and fly to center. McDowell's spring training earned run average up over 8. Just as soon get things started up north. Sachs fouls it at the plate, 1-1.
Yeah, I think it's to a point of a little concern for the Mets, too. You let a couple of those outings go by, but after more than 2, then you start to worry.
Well, so often down in Fort Lauderdale, we heard that we would see a pitcher who was being hit very hard, but we're told that it's just important for him to get his work in, his innings in, and we won't be saying that up in Minnesota. 1-1, Sachs, slow roller. Leach gives way, and the first is in the dirt, and Kelly will hold it third. Magadan's throw to first was low. Tuffle did not come up with it. And there appeared to be some initial confusion between Magadan and Leach on the play. Manager Davey Johnson talking with Mel Stottlemyre.
Well, Stottlemyre liked it when it was 4:30.
I guess so. 1-1 to Balboni. 1-2.
Go back a little bit further, it was 4:57 in left center field.
Guys wouldn't even reach that in BP with them.
The fungo bat from second base.
1-2 to Balboni. 2-2. Deck is Ken Phelps. Balboni hits it in the air, left field. McReynolds back to the warning track and pulls it in. So Balboni gives it a ride, and the Yankees come up empty here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's the Mets 3, the Yankees nothing. Bobby Murcer will be back to join Tommy right after this.
3-0 lead for the Mets. Tommy Hutton, Bobby Murcer back in the booth as the Yankees make some changes.
Well, Tom Brookins goes into play second base for the Yankees now. And at shortstop, Randy Velarde. I'll be playing shortstop. And the new pitcher is the left-hander, Lee Guterman. Guterman making his 9th appearance in the spring. You see his record, 1.98 earned run average, 13 innings pitched. He has struck out 6. You may see, Tommy, the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, a new pitcher each inning as everybody tries to get their work in and getting ready to start the 1989 season. And each manager trying to set up their rotation for that 89 start.
That's right. Dave Magadan to step in for the Mets. Both managers, Davey Johnson of the Mets, Dallas Green of the Yankees, said before the game that they were going to try to get as many pitchers in this contest. And be one tomorrow at Shea Stadium, so they can get some work. I think Guterman got a lot of work in spring training and really came to camp with an opportunity to make the club, and he made the most of it. His first pitch is up high to Magadan, ball 1.
Well, Guterman gives the Yankees some flexibility. He's probably going to be used as a long relief guy and possibly can be used as a 5th starter once in a while, a spot starter.
Magadan sends one on the ground, backhanded by the new shortstop, Randy Velarde, and he can't hang on. Would have been a tough play, but Magadan doesn't run all that well, and Velarde has a strong throwing arm, so I think if he comes up with it, he has a chance.
Well, it's the kind of play deep in the hole at shortstop that if you do bobble it, there's no chance of throwing the runner out. Magadan with a sweet swing. Lou Pinella's cousin, Dave Magadan. But Randy, as he bobbles it, base hit for Magadan.
Think Lou's worked with him at all on that sweet swing?
Well, it depends on what he hits.
Mackey Sasser now steps in and takes low, ball 1. Talking about the pitching rotation and setup, Tommy John, as everyone knows, will be starting the opener in Minnesota on Tuesday. He'll be opposed by Twins left-hander Frank Viola. Guterman misses with that next pitch to Mackey Sasser. And then on Wednesday, Andy Hawkins will pitch against Alan Anderson, a left-hander. Thursday, Lapoint against Shane Raleigh. So the Yankees will see 3 left-handers in that series in Minnesota. Picked off at first, and Balboni not sure what to do with it. Finally gives it to Velarde, and Velarde tossing back to Balboni. I'm surprised he threw it back to Balboni because it looked like Velarde was gaining on Magadan, and the play was just to catch up to him and tag him.
Well, he was gaining a bit. Balboni, of course, has not been in Fort Lauderdale with the Yankees, so he doesn't know all the plays that they've been working on as far as the rundowns are concerned, but he's been here before, and basically all of them are the same anyway. He saw Magadan hesitate just a second. That's the reason Balboni hesitated, but now the run is on. You can see Velarde gaining, but it's easier just to kind of flip to bye-bye and let him put the tag on.
Mackey Sasser, the hitter. This is his first at bat in the ball game. Barry Lyons started and went 1 for 2 with a double. 3-0. Mets have the lead in the top half of the 7th inning. Guterman's pitch, and Sasser sends it on the ground, so Velarde getting a lot of opportunities as he comes into play. He makes it an out, and they're 2 down.
Thank heavens it's not West Palm Beach.
Oh,
You got to feel for Randy.
Another treat when you leave Florida. Now, there are some nice fields. We've talked about the stadium in Fort Lauderdale where the Yankees have spring training, but there are others that aren't that nice as far as hot. So when you leave Florida, come to Major League ballparks, get some AstroTurf, some nice fields, it's also very nice to see.
Kelvin Elster, the batter, but Randy Velarde, West Palm Beach with the Atlanta Braves, the Montreal Expos play, is not a good field. They got 2 teams playing on the same field, and on the infield, it's pretty tough to catch a ball, and Randy Velarde was having a tough day that day when the Yankees were playing the Atlanta Braves. Seems like every ball that was hit to Randy, he misplayed or bobbled it or whatever and ended up with an error. And when you get in a situation like that, it seems like everybody that comes to the home plate hits the ball to that guy.
Yeah.
The ball always finds.
Oh, that always happens. Elster with some new lumber now, ready to go to face Lee Guterman. Fastball's popped out of play, and it's 0-2. So you would have to imagine that Balboni will see a lot of action in Minnesota with those 3 left-handers, Viola, Anderson, and Shane Raleigh. Lee Guterman works and finds the inside corner, striking out Kevin Elster. So he went away, came inside, and strikes out the young shortstop. And that's all for the Mets in the 7th. No runs, they had a hit. Nobody left on. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th, 3-0, Mets in the lead.
Hendricks.
Well, if you're a Met fan, you know it's Roger McDowell. Ken Phelps trying to solve a sinker ball pitcher, takes the pitch low, ball 1.
The only other guy that I remember wearing his pants all the way down To cover his shoes, his ankles, was Hendricks, the California.
George Hendricks.
Last team that he played for, St. Louis Cardinals.
The thing that's nice about that, you can just keep those pants on after the game, put on a nice blazer, and go out. You don't even have to worry about changing pants. Put on a pair of loafers, take the baseball shoes off. Might want to take the stirrups off.
You would hope once in a while that Roger McDowell would change his pants. But knowing Roger and the prankster and the kidder that he is, he's liable to do anything.
1-1 is foul tipped, and it's 1-2. And no telling what he would do today, too. April Fool's Day.
I know what he did yesterday. He lost his 4th game. Of course, it doesn't make any difference. This is still spring training. What did he do? Give up a grand slam in the 9th inning as the Mets lost their final game in Port St. Lucie.
Mets lead here this afternoon, 3-0. 3 runs and 7 hits for the Mets. No runs, just 2 hits for the Yankees. In the bottom of the 7th inning. Good rip by Phelps, and he fouls it back. 2-2.
McDowell says that he is not in a slump, but Davy Johnson says that he, that he is in a slump a bit, and he's not pitching as good as McDowell knows how to pitch, or Davy Johnson wants him to pitch. So he says, hey, it certainly may affect my bullpen, especially early in the season, with McDowell not throwing as good as he normally would.
Another sinker that was up in the strike zone, and Phelps has another good swing but fouls it back. Well, Davy Johnson relies on McDowell and Randy Myers. Myers, the left-hander, to close games for him. Davy doesn't seem too concerned right now. Former teammate of mine back in 1977 with the Phillies. Davy Johnson had spent a couple of seasons in Japan and then came back and had a good year for the Phillies that year, coming off the bench, hit over 300.
Of course, he had the 43 home runs in Atlanta.
Sinker hit up the middle and right through the wickets. Ken Phelps stayed with that sinker, didn't try to pull it, went right back through the box. Yankees pick up hit number 3.
Third baseman, Mike Pagliarulo.
Mike Pagliarulo will stand in. Pags is 0 for 2. Grounded to third in the 2nd inning on a check swing and then struck out in the 5th. Each of those at bats off Ron Darling. Darling had a strong outing for the Mets this afternoon. First pitch up high, ball 1. Darling went 5 innings, allowed no base hits, had 4 strikeouts and no walks. Tim Tuffle not hold in Phelps at first base with the left-hander Pags up there. And it's 2-0.
Well, it gives the first baseman a little bit more flexibility and more ground to cover. The Yankees being down 3-0 at the bottom of the 7th inning. Of course, Kim Phelps is not a strong runner. Left-handed batter Pagliarulo with a chance of pulling the ball down the right side.
Yeah, what you want to do defensively in that situation, you don't want to allow the other team to put together a big inning. So if you can play back as Tuffle is doing, moving back once McDowell goes to the plate, then you can cut down a hard hit shot and maybe at least get one out and try to keep that opposition from having a big inning.
Knowing the kind of pitcher that McDowell is, a sinker baller, when you go up from the left side, you've got to think in the back of your mind, hit the ball up the middle opposite field. That'll keep you on the ball a little bit longer and keep you from spinning out and hitting the ball on the end of the bat if that ball's sinking down and away from you. So the thinking from the left side, especially off a pitcher like McDowell, is to hit the ball up the middle and towards the opposite field. And most of his pitches are going to be down and away from you anyway.
Well, that one was down and it missed. Ball 4. So the Yankees get something going here in the 7th and bring the tying run to the plate. Let me ask you something, Bobby. With a sinker ball pitcher throwing, when you were playing, did you change where you stood in the batter's box at all? Did you ever move up, or did you just change your thinking most of the
Once in a while, but most of the time, I would just change my thinking about where he was going. If you think about it, 80% of McDowell's pitches are going to be from the middle of plate away on a left-handed hitter. If you watch the Mets charting the pitches,
well, Terry Leach, who pitched the last inning, it's the chart snatched away, and that was the first walk in the ball game by either side. So it's been a well-pitched game this afternoon.
Send him down. Release it.
thing you have to watch from against the sinker baller, if you're a Mel Hall type hitter, is trying to pull that pitch that you shouldn't pull. And when you're up there in a situation to possibly tie the game with a home run, you really have to put that in your mind. Because your first urge is to go ahead and crank one and tie it up. But if you try to crank that sinker, it's going to be a ground ball to second. Popped in the air. And it should go out of play, and it does.
Well, it's what I used to call zone time. And what I mean by that is that when I walked to the plate, I was looking for one pitch in a particular zone, especially for the first strike, that I could hit out of the ballpark. Anything else out of that strike zone or that zone that I was looking in, I wouldn't even offer it until he at least got one strike on me.
Mel Hall up there. The count's 1-1. Mel so far today is 0 for 2. Grounded out and struck out. Sinker misses for ball 2. Mets took a 2-0 lead on a Darryl Strawberry shot. A 2-run home run in the first inning. Went the upper deck. They added another in the 6th on an RBI double by Kevin McReynolds that drove home Greg Jeffries. Right now the Yankees, with runners at first and second, have the tying run at the plate. The 2-1 pitch. Mel goes the other way. It's a fly ball, left field. McReynolds backing up and on the track grabs it. So the wind took a hold of that ball that didn't appear to be hit all that hard by Mel Hall. He went the other way, and McReynolds kind of casually went back to the warning track.
Well, the wind, it swirls here at Yankee Stadium. And you can't give up on any fly ball, especially when the wind is blowing. You mentioned the wind is actually blowing towards right field, but the ball is carrying towards left field.
So with one down, Don Slaught will be the hitter. Slaught is 0 for 2. Runners remain at first and second base. Hard fastball is a strike. 0-1.
Gone in Seattle. No wind in the dome.
I'm just thinking that one's gone in Seattle. The one Balboni hit last inning has gone in Minneapolis and Seattle, probably Detroit and Boston.
Only one problem.
We're not there.
We're playing at Yankee Stadium.
Fouled at the plate. It's 0-2.
But the Yankees will be at the Homer Dome in Minneapolis starting on Tuesday.
I want to mention, too, that Tuesday matchup, Tommy John and Frank Viola. And then Wednesday and Thursday, those two ball games we'll have for you right here on Madison Square Garden. Hawkins and Alan Anderson on Wednesday, and Dave Lapoint and Shane Raleigh Thursday afternoon. Don Slaught with a line drive, base hit to left field. Phelps had to hold to make sure it got through the infield, so the bases will be loaded. Slaught hit it hard, just out of the reach of the third baseman, Dave Magadan. And to make sure the ball got through with the runner at second base, Ken Phelps had to hold.
McDowell does not have that real bite on that sinker ball. He's got this one up in the strike zone. If he has that real bite on it where it's biting down and in on that right-handed batter, that would have probably been a broken bat ground ball to the left side, but he just doesn't have that good pop like a Roger McDowell normally has.
I think you saw a quick concerned conversation there between Davey Johnson and Mel Stottlemyre. Bases loaded. Randy Velarde, the hitter, takes a strike.
Well, Davies already said he is concerned about McDowell, as I mentioned earlier.
After a while, after a couple of outings, you can kind of shun things off, and if you're the pitcher, if you're McDowell in this case, but sooner or later it's going to start to concern you also. 0-1 to Velarde, misses. 1-1 the count. Bases loaded. At third base is Ken Phelps. Runner at second, Mike Pagliarulo. And over at first after a base hit, Don Slaught. Slaught with that hit is 1 for 3. Yankees with 4 hits. Trail 3-0. Velarde fouls it at the plate. 1-2. While we have a minute, we should congratulate, since this being April 1st, A. Bartlett Giamatti in his first day as Commissioner of Baseball. Bill White in his first day as President of the National League. And Bobby Brown, he's been there a few years. He knows what it's all about. Bases loaded, 1-2 pitch. Call strike 3. McDowell got Velarde with the fastball on the outside corner. A pitch that appeared to freeze Velarde at the plate. And it's a big strikeout for the Mets and for Roger McDowell.
Tough pitch because the ball starts outside and it just comes back over on the outside corner. That's what you call a perfect pitch by a pitcher, and there's no better time than right now to come up with that perfect pitch with the bases loaded and only 1 out.
That one you give up on. You think it's outside, and then it backs up and catches the outside corner. 2-man out. Roberto Kelly takes a strike. Kelly's been on base 2 times, reached on an error and singled, and has 2 stolen bases today. Mets have 3 runs and 7 hits. The Yankees no runs, 4 hits. But the Yankees threatening here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Have the bases loaded for Kelly with 2 down. McDowell with the pitch. Kelly goes the other way and strokes it to right field. In comes Phelps. Pags is going to score. Roberto Kelly with his 2nd hit. And the Mets now lead 3-2 as the Yankees inch closer. So Roberto Kelly putting on a show this afternoon for the Yankee fans, going the other way with that pitch by McDowell.
McDowell trying to make the same pitch that he got Velarde out on as he struck him out. This one was back over the middle just a little bit more as Roberto takes it to right field. The Yankees pick up their first 2 runs of the game. And we've got Davy Johnson making a change. Roger McDowell will leave, and the Mets will make a pitching change. Wow.
And this is unusual, and the reason Bobby Murcer gave you a wow is that you don't see this happen too many times in exhibition ball games. But while McDowell heads to the dugout to try to get it together before the season gets underway, and as Roberto Kelly thinks about his base hit and 2 RBIs, it's a 3-2 game. The Yankees trail, and we're going to step out for a timeout. Last year, Roger McDowell had 16 saves, 2.63 earned run average, but an earned run average of over 8 in the spring. He's not real happy at this moment. Don Ossie will come in and try to put the fire out for the Mets, but the Yankees will try to keep it going. They have the tying run at 3rd base. It's a 3-2 Met lead. Runners at 1st and 3rd for Bernie Williams. Ossie, who made this club as the number 10 man on the staff, gets Williams to foul it back. Dallas Green has perked up a little bit. So the Yankee fans here at the stadium. 3rd base coach Lee Elia giving some encouragement to Bernie Williams. Bernie's 0 for 3. Roberto Kelly, keep in mind, has 2 stolen bases today. It's been a fine afternoon for Kelly. 2 for 3. 2 singles, 2 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. And there he goes again. Williams off the glove of Ossie. This will tie it up. Bernie Williams with an infield base hit. His slot scores from 3rd. It's 3-3.
Well, the Yankees and Vero Beach, we talked about it earlier. They did not give up, being down 8 runs going into the top of the 9th inning. The Yankees coming back here. Actually, Ossie should have made that play. He just took his eyes off of it, and maybe because of the fact that Roberto Kelly broke with the pitch, that may have affected him, but he should have made that play.
Tom Brookins up there for the first time. Brookins waves at it. Comes up empty. Brookins stepping in, taking over for Steve Sachs at 2nd base.
The Yankees have speed on the base pass now, with Kelly down at 2nd base and Williams on at 1st.
Ossie with the 0-1. And what happens in this situation if you try to think along with Dallas Green? Bobby Murcer mentioning the speed on the bases. You look at the count, and I would have to think that if the count gets in the favor of the Mets, say 1-2, something like that, we may look for the runners to go. But Ossie's not going to do that as he misses, and it's 2-1. Don Ossie, the man whose name appears first in the baseball register, AASE. 2-1, and it's stroked to left field. Brookins with a base hit. Here comes Kelly. He's going to score. The ball gets by Sasser, and Williams goes to third. Brookins to second. The Yankees take the lead 4-3. So the Yankees are putting it together. The wheels are falling off for the Mets.
Well, it's the pitching. And Roger McDowell and Don Ossie, they're hoping that they can put out the fire and keep these other teams from mounting big drives. But the Yankees mounting a drive here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and as they have already scored 4 runs. McReynolds with a ball thrown over the head of the cutoff man, and actually it was sinking down and away from the catcher. Dallas Green's got to be happy about that.
Steve Balboni becomes the 9th man to bat for the Yankees. It's a high pop fly. Magadan wants it, and he makes the catch. But the Yankees have come alive in the 7th inning. 4 runs on 5 base hits. And the crowd loves it here at Yankee Stadium. 4-3, Yankees lead after 7. Put a couple of new players out there. Stanley Jefferson will roll him out in left field. Moving to center is Bernie Williams. And the new man on the mound, Lance McCullers.
Now we go back to the Yankees. Lance McCullers and Dave Righetti will be getting most of the work for the Yankees this year as the setup man and the stoppers. The Yankees have the lead now. We're in the top of the 8th inning, so this is what McCullers is supposed to do, is shut down the other ball club. But of course, that's what Roger McDowell and Don Ossie is supposed to do too.
And Dykstra is supposed to ignite things for the Mets. He takes a strike, 0-1. I think you've seen a very typical Yankee-type game that you may grow accustomed to this year. They have not made an error. They have pecked away. They've shown some speed. Roberto Kelly with his 2 stolen bases. And all of a sudden, they've taken the lead 4-3. But I don't think with that type of club you can look for a lot of come-from-behind victories, though.
Well, they just don't have the kind of firepower in their lineup, the Yankees I'm talking about, with the guys hurt and that are gone.
Dykstra with a high fly ball for Stanley Jefferson, who is very familiar with this territory here in the Bronx, where he grew up.
Yankees cannot wait for things to happen this year on the offensive side. They've got to make things happen. They've got to hit and run. They've got to move the runner up. They've got to take extra bases. And they can't make mistakes.
Well, it's been a perfect day for Greg Jeffries as he steps in. Jeffries is 3 for 3 with 3 doubles, and he has scored twice. Mets took a 2-0 lead on Strawberry's home run in the 1st, added another run in the 6th, and led 3-0. But the Yankees now with a 4-3 advantage, scoring 4 times in the bottom of the 7th inning.
I think in the very near future you are seeing one of the National League batting title people. He's got a sweet swing from both sides, left side and right side, so he's never at a disadvantage when he goes to the plate. Makes contact. He runs well. That's all good signs of winning a batting title.
And he has stated that he would prefer third base, but he's given second a shot, and that's where Davey Johnson has him. Jeffries will make it out, finally, hitting 4 times. Bernie Williams with the catch, 2 down.
At the stage of Jeffries' career right now, I don't think he cares where he plays, as long as he is just playing. Now, once he gets his 4 or 5 years in, he'll say, look, I prefer to play third, and that's where I want to start.
I'm taking a beating out there at second base.
Okay, Greg, well, if you want to play third, that'll be fine.
2 men down. Tim Tuffle will step in. Tuffle came on to play first base for Hernandez. Hernandez went 0 for 3. Tuffle up there for the first time.
Be fine with Tuffle, too, if Greg Jeffries ends up back at third. Been a lot of talk about Howard Johnson being traded from the Mets.
How about that big 14 blockbuster deal that almost happened?
And Sherholtz from Kansas City is the guy that actually put the damper on that 4-way deal.
I'll tell you what, Seattle, Boston, Kansas City, and the Mets all involved, and some big players involved in possible shifting around. 0-2 pitch to Tuffle, and it misses. 1-2.
Well, see if I remember right. The Mets were going to end up with Danny Tartabull.
They were going to end up with Tartabull. I think Howard Johnson and Sid Fernandez were going to Seattle. We'll have to tell you about it later as McCullers has a quick 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Yankees leading the New York Mets 4-3. Yanks with a 4-3 lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Ken Phelps to face Don Ossie. Yankees scored 4 times in the 7th to take that 4-3 lead. And it all got started when Ken Phelps singled up the middle off Roger McDowell. Phelps 1 for 3 today. Takes up high, ball 1. So McDowell, in his 2/3 innings pitch, allowed the 4 runs. All 4 runs being charged to Roger. 1-0 fastball missing to Phelps, and it's ball 2. 2-0.
Roger came into this ball game with almost an 8 ERA, so it'll definitely jump up way over an 8. Just like he said, it doesn't make any difference. Spring training means nothing.
Well, it's easy for us to say that it doesn't make any difference for Roger McDowell, but he would have to think he would be concerned at this point.
He could care less what we say. It's what David Johnson says and Mel Stottlemyre.
Yeah, it's 2-1 to Phelps. Inside, ball 3. I wonder if President George Bush is starting to loosen up. It's where he's going to throw out the first pitch in the ball game coming up between the Baltimore Orioles.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, he's a lefty. I know that. Ossie loses Phelps. Ball 4.
Did you ever open the season up in Washington when the president threw out the first ball?
Never did. You had
times.
A few times.
A couple of times we opened up.
The third baseman, Mike Collier.
Quite a scramble.
You know, that custom started in 1910.
I never did get a ball. Never did get one. 1910. Huh?
Yeah, William Taft.
Well, I don't remember that.
He's sinker baller. You know, threw from down the side.
You remember it, don't you?
Pags missing the Ossie pitch and 0-1. Yankees 4 runs and 7 hits. The Mets 3 runs and 7 hits. Pags 0 for 2 today. He walked his last time up and came in to score. Hard line drive. Tuffle turns it into a double play. Hey, have you ever heard the term being at the right place at the right time? That's what happened right there.
As a runner, there's not a darn thing that you can do about this. It's just one of those unfortunate things that happens, and Tuffle just happens to be in the right place at the right time, and it turns into a double play.
2 quick outs, and Mel Hall is the hitter. Mel is 0 for 3. Looking ahead at the Mets, when they come to bat in the 9th inning, they'll have Lee Mazzilli, Kevin McReynolds, and Gary Carter due up. 1-0 pitch to Hall is high, ball 2.
Ossie last year had a shoulder operation, and he rehabbed. So, being a power pitcher like Ossie is, you got to watch that shoulder. You got to watch the
high pop fly. Hall let the bat fly, and it'll be Tuffle making the catch. So Mel Hall taking over right field for Dave Winfield. Figure you better throw that bat once in a while.
I was watching the bat. I wasn't watching the ball.
We'll go to the 9th inning. Yankees lead 4-3. Left-hander who has closed out a lot of ball games for the Yankees comes on to try to close this one out. Yankees lead 4-3 for Dave Righetti near the top of the 9th inning.
Of course, the rag man, he was bothered by a sore shoulder in spring training. You can see he's only got 6 innings pitched, and the season is starting, so Righetti certainly needs as much work as he can get in, because his arm relies on getting in and pitching, building up that arm strength. Righetti is normally, in fact, his standard operating procedure has been he gets off to a slow start because his arm strength is not there early in the year, and as the year progresses and as his arm strength builds, he gets a lot better. So he needs some more innings. Certainly 6 innings pitched is not enough for a guy like Dave Righetti to be that sharp.
Yeah, I think he probably had in mind 12, 15 innings at least in spring training, and he fell well short of that. He'll be facing Lee Mazzilli. The Mets' last chance here in the top of the 9th. The Yankees with a 4-3 lead. Mazzilli a switch hitter, but he hits right-handers a little bit better. He had problems last year against left-handers. Mazzilli was up 35 times against lefties and had just 3 base hits. New York kid up there facing Righetti, and it's up high. Ball 1. Lee Mazzilli has come full circle with the New York Mets, back with them again. Spent a partial season with the Yankees. Out of Brooklyn. Rags is 1-1 pitch. Back to 1-2.
One thing you would look for in Righetti right now is Righetti getting a little bit wild. So Righetti would like to have a good outing and put the Mets down here in the 9th inning.
He got away with a high breaking ball, and Mazzilli missed it, and Righetti gets the strikeout.
A high breaking ball, Mazzilli behind it. The ball was already past him before he swung at it.
One down for Kevin McReynolds. He fouls it off. First pitch, 0-1.
A lot of times what happens on a pitch like that is the hitter sees that breaking ball and he expects it to break more than what it does, and it really kind of fools you, and you kind of jenny flinch a little bit, and it's already by you before you can pull the trigger.
0-1 to McReynolds. Strike 2 call. Yeah, because the final result was great. It was a strikeout, but the pitch itself wasn't an outstanding pitch. So you take it any way you can in this game.
What do we know?
0-2. Good pitch. McReynolds pulls the outside fastball, and Velarde makes the play. 2 men gone in the top of the 9th. Yankees out away from beating the Mets 4-3, but they'll have to retire Gary Carter, the man with over 300 major league home runs. Carter with 302 lifetime dingers as a member of the Montreal Expos and the New York Mets. Pitch to Carter's low, ball 1. Each team with 7 base hits. And the Yankees have gotten good bullpen work from McCullers, who retired the Mets 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. And Righetti an out away from doing the same here in the 9th. Carter hits one off the hands, a little blooper, and it'll drop behind Randy Velarde. So Gary Carter keeps things alive for the Mets with that bloop single to shallow left center. Dallas Green can just say, well, it was a good pitch. It was on the hands. It jammed Carter, but he's strong enough, and he got the base hit.
Well, that was the key, that Carter was strong enough that he was able to fight that pitch off and lift it over Velarde's head to keep the Mets alive this first of 2 games that the Yankees and the Mets are playing for charity here in New York. And for bragging rights.
They played 4 times in Florida, and each team won 2 games. Breaking ball to Dave Magadan, misses, ball 1. Magadan 1 for 1. Came into play third base back in the 6th inning for Howard Johnson. Picked up an infield single in the 7th inning. Balboni playing behind Carter with the left-hander, Magadan up there. Magadan strokes it. Center field, Bernie Williams almost came in too far, but he stayed with it, put it away, and the Yankees put it away, and they defeat the Mets this afternoon. 4-3, the final score, and some good bullpen work and some come-from-behind hitting. The Yankees scoring their 4 runs in the 7th inning. So it's a happy afternoon for the Pinstripes here at Yankee Stadium as they play the first of these 2 exhibition games this afternoon at Yankee Stadium. Tomorrow the 2 teams will go at it again over the other side of town at Shea. But this afternoon, the Yankees, a 4-3 winner over the New York Mets. And Bobby and I will be right back.